Okay, welcome to the Unfiltered Godcast, where we are going to challenge you and make you think a little bit more than you might be comfortable with.
Outside the box,
Just-
shaking your weak foundations with the truth of God, the real foundation, God and Jesus Christ.
Welcome. The opinions discussed on this podcast are not fact, and you should do your own research. Yeah, well,
I still swear, man, this feminist shit, dude, is started by like these ugly, mainly old and heavy overweight women that couldn't get men. So like, fuck this. We're gonna ruin all these other women that have a chance just so we're on equal ground.
well, that makes sense. I mean,
And then
I
the
think,
union was like, yes.
well, I feel like if you were a woman and you were happy and you had a good I mean, why would you support feminism in the first place? Like, it doesn't really make sense, you know? Like, it doesn't benefit you.
How they fed the fuel, though, right? Like, if you're ever unhappy in marriage, you shouldn't be together. That's the stupidest idea ever. Like, you're never going to be unhappy at all. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing in life. You're always going to have happy and good moments, you know, hopefully have some good at least. But, you know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. Any relationship, even friends. You say, and none of your friends you've ever been upset with, and that's how they feed it. Like, if you're ever upset with your husband, you should just leave him. You can do better. And then you're 50 years old and can't have kids and shit and lonely as fuck with 50 cats and wonder why, you know?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really make sense. Every relationship is going to have ups and downs. If they told men if you were unhappy at any point in time, you should, move, whatever, do whatever the hell, people would be up in arms about it, like, because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, obviously there's going to be trying times in any relationship, no matter how good the relationship is. We have trying times with our relationship with God, and He forgives everything.
Right?
Like,
can you imagine someone that's human?
Yeah, like you're telling another person with all their flaws. Yeah.
That's another thing that always gets me, man. People a lot of times think that Christians are supposed to be perfect. And I get it. Obviously, we're supposed to live in Christ's image and things, but obviously none of us can live up to that. You know what I mean? Even in the best circumstance. So that's a delusion people have. And it's just like these atheists, you know, that get mad and try to tell you what's in the Bible. Like, you don't even believe in God. How are you quoting the Bible and misunderstanding and try to tell me something? Or these Satanists or something. They're like, God doesn't exist, but the devil does. Like, dude, what delusional world you live in? If you believe in the devil, you basically believe in God. I don't know where to think that came from. Holy shit.
Yeah, people like to use scripture like a lot of times to attack Christians, and they're not Christian, and it doesn't really hold much water unless you're personally, having a struggle with your faith in that way, like on that subject, and you're like, if they're calling out something that's actually real. But the thing is, we shouldn't let people. I mean, we shouldn't just stand by and let that happen to other Christians. We gotta like call it out. Like, you can't just use scripture because you're gonna try to like, attack Christians. Like, we're the ones trying to follow the scripture. Don't attack us. Like with it. Like, I mean, even Christians themselves shouldn't necessarily do that. They should bring up scripture to like guide people, but not attacking people. Like, it's not a great thing to like go around and like trying to. I don't know. I feel like that's not really what we're supposed to do. Like, it's like the stones in the house thing, like throwing stones at a glass house type thing. Like, no matter what, that shouldn't be happening.
That comes down to judgment too, right? We're not supposed to judge anybody. You'll be judged yourself. But you know what's funny, and I didn't realize, and this is something you can look up yourself too, man, if you're not aware, but World War II is basically caused by pacifism. You know that? Like, the United States and England both ignored the treaties of Versailles, whatever the hell that was, man, and literally were arming the Germans because they felt at that time that everybody should have equal odds in the war, and even if they're fighting people, we don't want to fight back. Even if our life's on the line, we don't fight back. Basically, till it was at England's door, they were on that same side too. Ignore them, ignore Germany, what they're doing. It's okay. They're killing people. It's not here, and then it's here. Oh, fuck. Should we fight back? When do we fight back? You know what I mean? I kind of feel like something similar now. We're obviously under attack in this country. It's for some reason, in some way, by some people, with obviously some kind of agenda, man. All these hazardous waste materials, the food processing centers, the distribution centers, fires all over the place. New York airport shut down right now. Michigan has a new fucking train wreck with hazardous materials. This is not coincidence. There's no way it can be. So who's the enemy? We're obviously being attacked. And at what point do we do something? What do we do? Is my question at this point.
Well, I think a lot of it could be down to incompetence. What is it? Freaking Secretary of Transportation is a diversity hire that was only getting the job because he was
diversity
gay.
hire, right?
No, I know, but I mean, the guy is
obviously.
Yeah, but the guy is unqualified. He's doing a terrible job. He would have been fired if he was anyone else. I mean, there's been so many things that happen: grounded flights, trains derailed. I mean, the list is infinite.
Time period is my problem.
Well, I know, but the other thing is the news.
In a week, dude. 1 week. Yeah. It's not like over a year. You know what I mean? These things would make more sense over a longer period of time. At the same time, they're trying to push the UFO agenda, Chinese spy balloons, fucking everything under the sun. Epstein's unredacted flight logs come out. The whole list is supposed to come out, and that's not come out yet. But we're being bombarded with shit, and these environmental problems which they're creating are real problems, man. I mean, and it's spreading. They basically made it so that everything's affected at this point. I mean, Lake Michigan, you were talking, was not affected. This Detroit thing's going to affect that. Obviously, it's right fucking there. The rest of it took a big portion of the country with that Palestine, Ohio, whatever it is, man.
Yeah, before we get into that, I wanted to unpack what you just said, and I had something to say about that. So, like, I do feel like the news and the news cycle and this stuff is kind of by design. They want everyone to draw attention to all these things, I think, in a way. Like, there's a reason they're trying to get everyone fearful. Because I think they want to ramp things up quite a bit with the war, the World War III thing. And I really feel like this is all, like, to get us ready for, like, these huge catastrophes that are going to happen, huge loss of life. I mean, that East Palestine thing, I will talk about that now because we can go into that. But I just want to get that thought out.
East Palestine. We're at war currently with all these attacks. I feel like
I heard what you said. I'm
asking you first. Do you think we're not under attack?
No, there's a possibility. There's a possibility we're actually at war and we don't know it because I don't think our government would tell us, even if nukes are being dropped.
Of course not.
Until they need our kids to fight for them. That's when they'd tell us.
They would hide that even. They'd be like, "Yeah, no worries. We just gotta take some CPS kid. What the fuck they call them? The Child Protective Services. We're gonna snatch your kids up. Next thing on their front line somewhere in Ukraine or something, dude. You know what I mean?
If they use
CPS, wouldn't even tell you then, dude.
That'd be crazy.
There it is.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. No, CPS. I don't get the name wrong. CPS is the largest kidnapper of children in America, and I want to go back to the Palestine thing, East Palestine, Ohio, which is literally like, it's literally like one of the biggest, chemical
failures,
pollution. I don't know. It's like they're calling Ohio Chernobyl, and it's basically true. Right. I mean, I can't believe no one's thought about this yet, but I mean, I'm in a surrounding state. I'm here in Indiana, and I mean, obviously we were affected in some way, but not nearly as bad. I guarantee people are going to move out of these affected areas eventually. The housing prices, the land prices are going to be nothing. Who sold land?
Obviously.
Before this happened? Who sold stocks before this happened? Who pulled out insurance policies before this happened? Follow the money. You'll figure out if anyone knew about it before it happened, if they had knowledge of it or it caused it. I saw those train tracks in Ohio, and they I don't know how any train doesn't derail. They're so tore up, and they got trillions of dollars for infrastructure, and they did nothing for the infrastructure. Right now, we have more derailments and all this stuff than we've ever seen, as far as we're aware of. It's crazy. And
in 1 week, dude. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is over months or a year. Like, if it was accidents from failure of infrastructure and maintenance, you know what I mean? Which is what you're saying, kind of, and it probably is part of it. But I feel like this is just like all them food distribution centers and the forced killing of cows and sheep and chickens and eggs and all this shit, dude. I really don't think this is accidental or a coincidence. You know what I mean? We're under attack, and it may be by our own people in some way, but we need to do something about it. Our military should be. Enemies, foreign and domestic. Who the fuck is attacking our country right now? Destroying the environment, destroying people's lives. Like you say, these people have to move. They're not given any funds to live somewhere else. None of this shit. There's no FEMA out there to help these people. They can't drink the water. They can't eat the food. Their pets are dying. Animals are dying. Small children are having problems, it sounds like, respiratory and shit like that. I don't know, dude. The water literally can light on fire. You throw a rock in something that looks clear out there, you see like pools of fucking rainbows coming out, which maybe that's what it's about, man. Rainbow pride. Let's pollute the world. We got chemicals in our water, right? Fucking craziness, dude.
Well, I mean, it's the same strat. I mean, it's depopulation. If it's done on purpose, I mean, it's evil. Evil, but the depopulation evil is it's just so prevalent, and people just ignore it like it's not happening. And I mean, I'm not saying for sure it was caused, but like I said, you follow the money, you'll figure out if people, because this is the thing,
dude, you have a sense.
If no one went ahead and profited before it happened, it wasn't planned, because that's what they always do. Like when the Pfizer thing and all the vaccine stuff. Now, hold on. Let me finish it, please. Okay.
Sorry, man.
When all the Pfizer stuff, Moderna stuff comes out, it turns out they had the vaccine and testing before the virus was released. Like it's clearly a profit motivated. Like they're not saying profit's the only motivation. No, some of these people have so much money they don't care. But the thing is, they're always gonna, because they're greedy, they're gonna always try to make money when they can. So if you follow these things, you can find out if it was planned, who was behind it. And like 9/11 was a good example of this. I mean, we figured it out all through the money. You find out what's going on, the Saudis and the Bush family and Israel and stuff.
They were going to have to be redone in a year. It would cost them billions of dollars. You know what I mean? It's an old building that had all that shit. And they were like, well, easier to blow it up.
I mean, there's a lot of factors there, but if you follow the money, you can usually find out.
In the basement, right? Like, there's a trillion factors to that one, obviously.
Yeah.
The holograms that were used in the explosion. I mean, the controlled demolition. I mean, yeah, that's an easy one, dude. I don't know.
But this incident might be an easy one too.
Try to research that first, maybe. I don't know.
But I'm saying this one, in a few years, we might have all this information. Like a lot of times we're gonna wait and see what actually happened. But obviously, if you live in the affected areas, I don't know if this is personal advice, what it is. I don't know if it's legal. Get the hell out of there. Why are you in there? No, what I'm saying is it's illegal or legal to say. But I mean, if I was in these affected areas, I would be getting out. I would not be sitting there sipping on the water, boiling it. I saw people boiling it, trying to get out.
That's not a point, though. That's not a reality for a lot of people. They can't just fucking up and leave, man. They're barely surviving right now, dude.
Yeah.
No, good you can. A lot of people can't.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I couldn't. No, I'm just telling you, like, that's a reality for a lot of people. Like, just leave. It sounds good, and I agree with a lot of things, especially with these immigrants coming here all shitty with how they're being treated or something. Go back, please. But at the same time, understand that's not always the easiest thing. They were being paid to get here.
No
one's paying them to go back. You know what I mean? There's foreign people that are paying to get here, right? They're paying for all their money, giving phones and all that shit, but there's no one paying to get them back. If you're not happy, gladly, that's an easy solution, I feel like. But just like in Ohio and all that, in many places, like Nevada right now too, with the fuel lines and all that shit, dude, you might not be able to leave. If you don't have a private jet or something, or money for a flight and someone to move your shit, you don't have gas money or gas because there's no fuel out there apparently. You're fucking stuck.
Well, you can still hop on
a disaster.
You can still hop on a Greyhound and leave. It's just a matter of what you're willing to leave behind. But I mean, you can get the money for a Greyhound. I mean, like, what I'm getting at is, okay, look. No,
that's what I'm saying.
You can walk away. I'm saying if I wasn't, just saying, like, there's a million ways to get out of a situation, and I'm not.
Walk away.
I know, Carl. Hold on, man.
No, maybe the reality is
I know, but I can't finish my thought because you just keep let me get in this, dude. I'm picking up. So I'm saying, like, obviously there's different financial factors and everyone have a lot to lose or gain. Doesn't matter how, I mean, obviously it matters if you're super wealthy, you can just leave and forget about it. Okay, I'm not going to go to Ohio this year. But I'm saying, like, anyone, no matter how little they have, you can, if you can change the situation somehow. It's just a matter of what you're willing to sacrifice for that. If you're talking about your health and your well-being with this chemical spill, I mean, I'd be willing to sacrifice everything, like material. Like,
if you're aware of it, though, too, and if you can get away quick enough, right? Because if you're right there where this happened and you're literally walking away, leaving your possessions, that cloud and shit is probably not going to let you live to walk away from it. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, well, you got to get out in a safe way, obviously.
I'm just saying.
No, sometimes it's better to stay inside. Like, after a nuclear bomb, you have to hide inside for a while, depending on where it hits. I mean,
kiss your ass goodbye, man. Remember those drills, man. Nuclear drill. Get on your desk and kiss your ass. What the hell is this going to do for a nuclear bomb? Don't worry about it, kid. Or I love this with airplanes, too. Their safety drill is literally designed to break your neck. So you can't sue them. You're dead.
What?
You know that, right?
No, tell me about this.
Come on, dude.
No,
what
tell
are
me
you
about
talking?
this.
You never heard this? Literally, You know how they tell you to tuck your head down and all that shit if something happens? Don't fucking do that shit. That is literally designed to break your neck. Look this up. Because if you're dead, you can't sue them. If you're injured, you can sue them. It's a legal thing, dude.
Well, we don't
That's
look
why
it
it's
up. I just
safety
believe
procedures.
you. That's how we work
Oh.
in here. Yeah, but we'll look it up later. But I mean, saying I just believe
Listeners
you, dude.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, we tell people this is opinions,
They
as
can
it
look it
is.
up.
But I've looked into this. You know, you can check it out later. You know, you people out there listening, whatever. But yeah, no, it's designed for legal purposes. Like you say, follow the money. It makes sense. My point with that before, though, was at some point, especially when it comes to actual espionage and warfare and tactical things, a lot of times they're very careful hiding their money in umbrella companies or not even wanting to make money, taking a loss just to create more money later for themselves.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
I think that's what they're going on right now, dude, because this is some hardcore shit.
No, I get you. I can see your point on that.
All this shit at the same time, dude, it's just so much, dude. Like, we've been talking for years about how they're trying to information overload, you know what I mean? And they're obviously on this week especially, dude. They're going hardcore with it, like all over, burning shit. Arizona had a chemical. I think they had two. One was on a highway, and one was another thing just burning out there. All over the fucking nation, things are all of a sudden.
Well, you got one
burning.
in Florida, in Kissimmee, Florida.
Materials.
You got like a plastic warehouse on fire.
Yeah, plastics, which isn't healthy, obviously, either, but it's not necessarily on a level. Did you see, too, that what was the FDA or whoever the fuck does the chemical bullshit for the United States government, literally 8 weeks before that train wreck in Ohio, they changed their entire outlook on a chemical, the main deadly chemical there that I believe is related to Agent Orange and shit like that. We used to use way back in the day. That's very ugly shit, obviously. They updated their thing 8 weeks before the accident, saying that it's not so harmful. Fuck off.
That's like the follow the money thing, though. Like follow the guidelines.
Information. What's changed? Yeah.
But the chemical is definitely a dangerous one. I mean, it's not something to play around with. It turns to hydrochloric acid in the clouds and rains down that. I mean, acid rain. Like I've seen cars damaged. I've seen like the fish dead. I mean, it's a mess. It's a huge mess. And yeah, I like what you're saying about the war thing. If someone was actively at war, whether it's our country or another country, at our citizens, they would try to hide the money and shell companies and all sorts of things, try to make it look like it was an accident. But it's crazy with the balloon thing started up, and I was like, man, they probably got like those UFOs, which I think Biden talked about today. Did you catch that? The UFOs to me, I'm like wondering if they're ballistic missiles. What are they shooting down up there, man? What are they shooting down? They wouldn't tell us if they were ballistic missiles. Like, they would not tell us if they were taking down nukes, even if a nuke hit. And that's why my wife's like, they would have to tell us. I'm like, no, they wouldn't tell us at all. They wouldn't tell us until they had to tell us. And then they would say some bull crap statement that's like not even close to the truth. And then they'd be like, oh, we do need everyone to register for selective services. And they make it seem like it's a good thing or something. Like, you got to get all updated with the government.
Yeah, like I was saying, the Child Protective Services would just start taking your kids, and you'd be like, "What the fuck?" And next thing you know, they're on the front lines in Ukraine somewhere, dude.
That made me cuss, dude. That made me cuss. The CPS taking.
But you know what I'm saying? It's not unrealistic. As crazy as it sounds, the world we live in, that's not unrealistic. And they still wouldn't tell you you're at war. They'd be like, "No, everything's fine. Go buy stuff, and please go to work tomorrow. Pay your taxes, please."
I don't think any parent should let anyone take their kids. I don't necessarily know what type of level of force you're supposed to use to stop it, but I wouldn't allow it.
I don't either. That's a hard question there, dude, because I don't know, dude.
No, it's right there in the Bible. It's not a hard question for me.
No, what
coming
level
for
of
the
force?
kids, the innocent. They're innocent.
No. That's the question. What level of force?
I'm not going there, but it's in the scripture, man. I'm just saying. I wouldn't let them take the kids, man. Dude. I wouldn't let them take the kids, man. I'm American, and I love God, and I ain't letting them take my kids. And it did make me cuss, though. I was like, man, that would be the thing, man.
You love God alone makes you a radical, and they might have to take your kids and brainwash them because they're thinking too purely.
Have they called me a terrorist yet? I'm a radical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that video in Australia, they literally said the term pre-millennial Christians are crazy terrorists. Like, what do you mean? What is this pre-millennials? Do you have to believe demonic shit? basically mixed with the Bible? I'm confused, dude.
Well, I knew they would
That's
do that
crazy.
when they
Yeah,
made the term
time.
terrorist and they did the whole Patriot Act. I'm like, sooner or later they're just gonna call us terrorists. Like, no matter what you are, they're gonna call you a terrorist. The whole idea of labeling someone a terrorist, I was against. Even though they were talking about Muslim jihadis at the time, it doesn't matter. You can't just blanket term and say, oh, you don't have our rights anymore. You're not American. You're a terrorist. I was so against all that, and it's crazy watching it play out. And you think about things like it's so weird, like time and like how, I mean, I'm only 39, but it's crazy that somehow 2050 is closer than 1990 to me. It just trips me out. Like, where, because their plans are, 2030, 2040, 2050.
Right,
These are the plans they're working on. And we're like just not noticing as each year goes by, all these things are happening. They're all part of these satanic plans. These one world order, world government, world economic forum bullshit stuff.
Anything is more dangerous to their plans or any evil force than someone that is religious and believes firmly in what they believe in, standing against the bullshit. I think that is the most dangerous force, and they know that. That's why, of course, that's going to be the most terrorist people, because they're the only ones that can actually stand up. You can't be bought out, can't be this and that. No, that's not what I'm standing up for. It's actually righteousness. You can't handle that.
Well, that's why
buy you out every way they can.
That's why under communism, that's one of the first things they do is get rid of religion. I mean, they get rid of guns first, then they get rid of religion next. I mean, they got to get rid of the things that they can stop them with. You're like, okay, first we'll get rid of their weapons, then we'll get rid of their strength and faith, or they can't be bought out, sold out, convinced, threatened out.
Get rid of their free thought next, right? They have to believe the state religion, which is now science, basically, right? That's the state religion nowadays.
What were you saying about people controlling thought with, there was something you were talking about where people were controlling people's thoughts through, what the hell was that? You're talking about something like that where they were like trying to control our thoughts or read our thoughts. So you were saying they hook up adults, these machines now, or?
Man. Like, they already do this in school, I guess, in Asia somewhere, because I'm not sure the country. But to the kids, which is obviously highly stressful, man, but it actually reads your brain frequencies, man. They want to do this for jobs. Yeah, that was part of the World Economic Forum and bullshit. But to see how focused you are, or if you have any bad or negative thoughts while in the workplace, they'll judge your performance off that. They're already doing this, I guess, in schools in Asia, and rating kids off this. How long can they keep the focus? How well do they focus? You know what I mean? Are they distracted all? Basically, do you have any thoughts in your head besides the bullshit they're trying to teach you?
So
if any thoughts in your head besides the bullshit they're trying to brainwash you with, you're going to get bad ratings, which is going to go with the social credit score and all this shit. It's all going to be tied together, obviously, at some point. That's their goal, right?
Yeah,
you don't smile enough, you can't buy groceries.
It'll be an app, and it'll just be like, okay, this is what they're thinking, and they're not qualified, lower their score. I mean, if people understood at WeChat, if they even understood like the level of control that WeChat has over China, they would stop all this thing where they're integrating apps, because it's your banking, it's your shopping, it's your transportation, it's your talking to people, it's literally everything. Like TikTok's crazy, right? For Americans, whatever. This is everything. It's all of it. It's all in one app, and they can literally censor it. Like as you're sending messages, they're already leading them.
I understand too, but they'll throttle it up or down, or not let you use that depending on your rating. Also, from
like if you type a message on it, okay, that it doesn't agree with, the message never gets sent at all. On the other side of the conversation, it's not there and at all, and it's constantly updated. It's very crazy. I don't think a lot of people know about it, but it's like that's what I was monitoring when I saw all these cell phones go down, because you need your cell phone and trying to do everything, because that's how they track them. I mean, obviously, they have more CCTV cameras than anywhere else in the world too. So they're constantly monitoring. They got the facial recognition system. I mean, China is the model for this whole thing where they're going to control people from like birth to death completely, and they want to get rid of the old people now. They found a solution. They got to just eliminate them when they get to a certain age or something. It's crazy because they can't pay for them anymore.
But dude, that makes me think of two things. One that is serious and true, and in the United States, we have a more highly surveillance system than they have in China or London. But we have it under the guise of a lot of private companies that the police force specifically and certain government agencies specifically have access to. So they're private companies that actually are paid by the government to monitor everything in every way, sound, video, audio, even the point they could track gunshots and all that shit, dude. You know what I mean? Live time all over the world, not just cities, but mainly cities, dude. It's just under a guise of like, you're not always being watched, so they don't have to say you're being watched. But if anything ever happens, they can like rewind live time in that area. You know what I mean? And they're private companies, dude. So that's how they get away with it. It's not the government doing it. It's a private company doing it, right? But they're obviously leased to the fucking government and the police forces and shit like that. And they're the only ones that have access to this shit. So like we're not to the level of a social credit score, but with observation and Big Brother bullshit, like it's just been hidden from the American people. You know what I mean? Like
there is some. Can I pause for
on you? But we're talking about cameras and shit everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
Let me pause for 1 second. You can hold that thought. There is a social credit score in America. It's ESG score. It's like for loans and stuff. They already have it implemented based on what you're investing in. As far as its environmental, social. Whatever, like it's all those, woke things, right? It gives you a score based on your investments, and that allows you to not get loans and stuff. But continue on with the thought about
they won't even lend money to white people. Apparently, they're so wokey woke over there.
Where?
Can't give Wells Fargo. You seen that? They won't give home loans to white people anymore, man.
Really?
Coke telling you're not white enough. You didn't see that? Yeah, Wells Fargo. Fuck them.
They don't hold the loans for long anyway. When you sign a home loan, all they do is sell it off to someone else and it bounces around.
Give it to you.
Yeah, they won't even give you it. They won't put the zeros in the computer for you that aren't real.
Great credit. Always paid your bills. Always had a job. Never been in debt in your life. You're too white. We got to get some sun in you, boy. I got to darken you up.
That's a good system.
That's the whole goal. I feel like read you out of existence, but that's a different story.
I get a signature on this paper and I can sell it for $80,000. I love that system. The banks have a good system.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When you sign a mortgage or something, you sign a paper and then they sell it for $80,000. All they did was give you a piece of paper. You signed it. They put some zeros in the computer.
It's a little more technical than that. Obviously, everybody be doing it. But,
basically. I mean, you boil it down. That's the system. They don't hold the loan. Right? They sell the loan for instant cash.
This is the thing. Obviously, if you're making money, especially absorbent amounts, you're fucking over the customer or the markets or everybody, your employers. You're fucking someone over to do that. You know, it's just that simple, man. You'd make some money if it was reasonable, but to make absorbent amount of money, you're fucking everybody over to get it, and there's no way to deny that shit. Well, you're fucking over somebody,
unless
if not everybody.
You have some groundbreaking new, like monopolistic tech, like something way above everyone else. You're gonna make like Tesla for years was making money hands over fist.
Patents. We go to this, man. I really feel like the problem that ends up killing people or holding up society and information in general is greed when it comes to that patent bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like all these people with these free energy things and water engines and all this shit for years, they were greedy. They tried to sell it to some fucking, GMC or something like that. I've heard things, I don't know who bought what, but just saying. And then they end up dead, and their patents never come out, even though they were bought and sold by a major corporation with the intention to use them and get some of the profit. But there's no profit if they never bring it out. Just fucking open source it all, man. Stop being greedy and advance people. That's the only reason I feel like you're trying to hold up a patent. You're greedy. Well, and I get it. You want to make money. That's fine. If you're the first to do it, you should be able to do it better anyway and improve on it faster. So, you know what I mean? Let everybody have the information. Stop being assholes with arts, music, all this shit, dude. Books and fucking photos like 200 fucking years or something, dude. It doesn't even make any sense. You know what I mean? 200 years, I get the money on this. Fuck off.
Well, it's over 200 years on some things, actually, because of the way it all works. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about. Copyright reform is like one of those things that's a business thing, but it's such a big business thing that, like you said, it holds back innovation. But at the same time, I think that the original creators should have a limited time, but it has to be a much more limited time of exclusivity.
People, man, I agree with that, but that literally with real technology, that's why these people end up dead, dude.
Well, if China does exactly what you're saying. They don't care about any of the copyright stuff. They just
does. We're further than China because it's more than just China, but mainly China,
Russia,
and Hong Kong,
China,
and shit like
China is really good at it. China has stolen every tech. They steal about $500 to $900 billion worth of tech every year from the U.S. companies.
That's government policy there, as opposed to here. It's the opposite. We protect these fucking tech oligarchs or whatever the fuck you want to call these assholes that just like sit on things and make you pay for shit. It's obviously obsolete already, but they still want to hold up shit because they're making money on it.
Well, I think there's a balance, but I think the balance is way too far in favor of the holder of the rights to stuff, especially with books. It's the most imperative one with books, because here's the thing: books are like access to information, and the reason why it doesn't get translated into certain languages is because there's not enough money to be made in it. So the patent holders will never put it in that language, whereas someone else would have put it in that language just because they want to share that information. Information needs to be free. Music and movies fall under this category in my mind. Eventually they should be free. Like, I mean, they've been doing a way better job with streaming services and stuff and making things free or trials. It's good, it's better, but only in the US. A lot of other countries don't have access to it. Still the same shows, the same stuff that's like 20 years old, 30 years old. They don't have access to it still. It's crazy. And all it does is make it so people can't get this information regardless of music or enjoyment. I mean, all it does is hold back to society as a whole growing whatever way. I mean, it would be a lot more beneficial to have a very limited time. You get exclusive rights. That's when you make most of the money anyway. After that, it opens up. The drug companies abuse this. Clearly, they just twist one little thing, and then they say it's a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's the same thing, but now you took the old one off, and you can't. Yeah, it's crazy.
They can't even say they cure anything. That's completely illegal in the United States. Right? In Western medicine, no, to use the term cure, they will treat it. You're just getting drugs to treat one thing that caused 5 other fucking problems.
Oranges
Every
don't
fucking
cure
pharmaceutical drug you get, I guarantee it.
Scurvy.
It'll temporarily help one thing and fucking cause 12 more ailments.
But oranges cure scurvy, dude.
This shit.
Oranges cure scurvy.
What was that I see in polio, man? The polio vaccine. Oh, cancer. Cancer's in the polio vaccine.
Yeah. Well, that was in the 70s. They got caught on that. They gave a bunch of people cancer. Was it in the 70s, 60s, 70s? They gave so many people cancer.
Vaccines, right?
They got caught on that, dude. Like they had to pay.
Was the swine flu thing they got caught up with. Millions of people died, and there was lawsuits, and they did it. It was almost the same commercials, man, verbatim.
Yeah.
You know, you can't see it. You go in a restaurant, someone sneezes, and they could give you fucking the swine flu and shit. Like these fear-mongering bullshit. But literally, millions of people died. And fucking there were lawsuits, even though at the time it was still legal to sue these companies. They couldn't. At this point, they're like, wait a minute, this is literally directly tied to you. You're getting sued, you know? And it happened, but it didn't matter. People died, people disformed and mutilated and fucking given all these other paralytic diseases like's happening now, dude. It's ridiculous. People fall for the shit, and it's like on a calendar, dude. 20 to 50 years is kind of normal, recent, but a lot of their calendars are like 100, to 1,000 years. They're on that level. Like, fuck it, we'll plan 1,000 years out. They've been doing this shit for a long time, man.
Well, if they wait enough generations, people forget. And like when this vaccine thing on the mandates and all this stuff started coming up, I was like, well, look, the pharmaceutical companies aren't worried about it because they're immune to the lawsuits. But all these companies that try to force their employees are going to get sued to oblivion. That's why the NFL is freaking out about that one guy. They're going to get sued.
Traders, dude.
Huge, man.
No, we need to go beyond money to them because money doesn't matter. Corporations are people, then people should be hung if they're fucking killing people, right?
Well,
and then you say who? I would say every single person that was involved, all the board members, the CEOs, every motherfucker in upper management had a clue. All of them. Same with our politicians that are treasonous. I think this is completely ridiculous that half our politicians work for China or the Ukraine or some fucking stupid bullshit that's not in American interest at all. At some point, this shit needs to be
They get a
dealt
fair
with.
Fair trial, correct?
That's
fair
fine.
trial.
But if you're found to be a traitor and you're in a political position, especially, or military, you should be fucking dealt with. Why are you giving China priority over America? Why are you giving Ukraine and priority over America? That's not
Israel.
Or Israel.
Sorry, I have to go there.
You should go there. There goes another 80% of our politicians because I don't even think you can get in Washington.
You can't criticize them in a lot of states. Texas, Florida, you can't even call them out, man.
And kiss their ass? No, they want money first. You already know how they are, man. You got to keep a little whatever you call it, gold around your neck and shit. If you're in that culture or whatever, I don't even know what they are. They're not a religion. They're not. What are they at this point? They're not a race or a religion. They're just like some weird cult of people that control shit. Whatever you want to call them.
You talking about Zionist or
right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
They don't even want to define themselves at this point. Well, they're always the victim. That's what you define them as, the victim. There you go. The victim class. That's a great thing to say.
The whole victim class. Like, not just, there's a whole victim class. There's a victim class. There's victim Olympics. The bigger victim you are, the more powerful you are somehow, which makes no sense considering we should be striving to be less victims in life. We should be striving to overcome adversity. We should be striving to be more like Christ. Christ didn't cry about everything. He was hanged up on a cross to die for our sins. He still wasn't crying about it. Like, being a victim is not something that people that are Christians should be.
The money changers in the church, the temple, the Jewish temple.
You got angry, but I'm saying as far as like being a victim, like taking advantage of people feeling bad for you, like being a victim is not something that holds up at all, as far as I can tell. You can talk to God about your problems. You should not be trying to make everyone else feel bad for you. I don't think that's anywhere.
No, man. I need reparations. Someone hurt my feelings 500 years ago, dude. Well, that was a thought in someone's mind. They hurt my feelings, man. And even though I have more money than you and can do whatever the fuck I want, 500 years ago, someone hurt my feelings. You got to pay me, even though you never hurt my feelings yourself. But
reparations are ridiculous. No one currently alive was involved in slavery. It's obviously ridiculous.
Holy shit. And more states are doing it now. Not just San Diego, California. Yeah, New Jersey, I think I heard some shit, some bill going through.
Well, South Carolina is getting rid of the Confederate flag or something, because I don't know. Someone was saying it was added in the 60s. I don't know. What? The Confederate flag to me represents rebellion against the state in a way. Like, it's Southern pride, rebellion. It has nothing to do with race, as far as I know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
Well, I think it has more to do with rebellion against, standing like David and Goliath shit's what I almost would refer it to, man. Because, like, that's why they want to squash it out so much, man. The people versus the government is really what I look at the South and North was, dude, right? Because, like, the South didn't have any forces. They created their own forces, man. Eventually, they got some allies overseas and shit, and it wasn't enough, but there's a lot that happened all over the place. I mean, and I love how they like to say that was all about slavery, when literally the North also would not even allow black people in the war because they said it was a white man's war at the time. So how the fuck are you going to tell me it's about slavery? It's about taxing people, obviously, man.
Well, they had like one division that was like black or something. But the South had blacks fighting for them too.
The South had it right away. But in the North, dude, they had none in the beginning until they started losing. And they're like, fuck, we got to do something.
It wasn't about slavery.
Because a lot of black folks that were free, that came from the South, that were slaves, wanted to participate, and they wouldn't let them. And eventually they did once they got their ass kicked a bit. Like, that's the reality of the situation, man. You know what I mean? It really is.
Well, yeah.
And most of the country didn't even have any involvement in slavery at all. So to say that every white man...
the same people that have servants now.
Well, no, because black folks have servants. And
no, I'm saying right now, the 1% or whatever it is the same amount of people that own slaves. Like, I'm saying no one owned slaves that wasn't the 1%.
And at the same time, there are actual literal slaves in Africa and, in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East and shit like that currently that no one says shit about.
Well, I want to go back to what we just said about...
nation that actually freed slaves, I'm pretty sure. I think it was England or something like that in Europe, and then us. I mean, we were like the second people in the world to stop the shit. Yeah, and we're the only bad guy. Go ahead, man.
Well, I want to say also that Lincoln offered the South slavery enshrined in the Constitution forever, and they rejected it because it wasn't about slavery. Lincoln didn't care if it was pro-slavery or anti-slavery. He just wanted the country to stay united at that point. He didn't care, and he wasn't about abolitionist. He was against slavery as his political campaign. But when he got in office, he was fine with signing a document that would have made it so slavery would still exist today, maybe.
A lot of his buddies still had slaves, let's be honest, right? Like, you know what I mean? Even if they were in the North, they knew people in the South, they're making money. And it wasn't just the South, it was a worldwide thing. You know, that, like I say, still goes on. We're just not a part of it directly. Indirectly, obviously, we talked about this before, prisons and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Legally in the United States, you can be a slave if you get locked up for anything. You sneeze on the wrong side of the road.
Incarcerated people are not...
you sign something.
The 14th or 15th Amendment. They are no.
Well, I
They
don't know
they
about
have
that. I'm
no
just saying, like,
rights
these
to
black
not
laws
be
and these
enslaved.
goofy laws that, like, you can't have ice cream on Sunday and shit like this. Literally, you can get locked up, not just fined for it. So I'm married, as goofy as it sounds, and that could make you an actual slave. Literally, almost everybody in the United States. This is why we have the most biggest prison population in fucking world history of any culture. Is that every day, if they wanted to, if they followed every rule in the book, they could lock 2/3 of us up every fucking day. They don't, obviously.
This is
because they could.
absolutely perfect.
People got money. What?
I wanted to talk about this today, dude. This is like
this is
no,
truth,
this is something that I've been wanting to talk about because here's the thing: like
Preach.
a lot of people are like pro police and back the blue. And here's the thing, man: the cops can be good, they can be bad, but they're enforcers of laws. The more crappy laws we put on the books that they enforce, the more they can screw over our lives. Like you said, 2/3 of us are breaking the law probably right now. And it has to do with the lawmakers. The lawmakers are writing a bunch of laws, and we need less laws. We need less police to solve the crime problem in America because that's the crime problem.
I don't know about less police. I wouldn't say that.
No,
but I would
we
say
do.
Less laws.
No, we need less laws
problem.
and less police. We need less. See, a police officer works for the government. They're there to make sure that if a crime was committed, people are get their just day in court. Police. But most police are spending time on civil matters that could be easily handled by private security, and they wouldn't need the police officers involved. If your neighborhood wants to enforce seatbelt laws, for instance, they could have private security do that. There's no reason that police officers are involved in that thing. Traffic laws, most of them. Anything that's not an incident of loss should not be a police matter at all. And then you would need less police. And then you would have less laws. Less laws, less police is what I would 100% do. Now, obviously in the cities, there's some crazy stuff going on, all sorts of crime and stuff. That's a whole nother thing that has to be dealt with.
Those areas maybe need more police and actually doing their job. But I would say less laws, less government, for sure.
But if they had
police, maybe they need more police that are actually focused on real crime in certain areas they actually currently choose to ignore.
Yeah,
right. We all know. Anybody who's been near a city knows there's areas the police let shit go down. Right? They always do.
Well, they have to because they can't. They're not good at stopping things. They're only good at cleaning up the mess afterwards. They're not good at stopping crime.
Patrolling the streets, right? If you had enough, they could patrol the streets on foot, not in a fucking vehicle, on foot, and actually do their job right. Not harassing people, not wearing seatbelts, or drinking while walking down the street. People that are actually killing people, beating people up, robbing, you know what I mean? Like something real happening, maybe something would help. But too many laws, obviously, is the first problem because they keep making laws and never take any away.
Well,
they just make more laws and more fucking regulations all the fucking time. We're less free. Every law they make is less freedom. That should be the easiest equation for everybody to understand. The same with government. The bigger government is, the less freedom you fucking have. Same with the laws. The more laws there are, the less free you are. I mean, that should be common sense, but people are always voting for more laws, more government, and less freedom.
Because they get scared.
Lock yourself in prison. Lock yourself in a prison. You might as well let us be free. You live in a prison, I'll be free. I don't need your bullshit.
Well, they get scared. They show this in the news, all these people getting shot and this or that. So they want more laws to stop it because that's what they really need. They need more laws and they need more. And this is the problem. People are controlled by fear and they make more laws. And it's in the Fourth Amendment, the search and seizure thing, that's important because this is what they do. They keep pushing it farther and farther. And so they can find more crime where there isn't crime. If there is crime, there's an actual loss. There's someone who lost something. And if it's something they can't replace with money, it should be should be jail time. That's where jail time exists. And there's not that. There should be no jail time. There's no crime at all. You shouldn't even be fined. If your neighborhood wants to do a seatbelt law,
drinking and driving, and I didn't crack into anybody, there's no crime either, as far as I'm concerned.
There's no crime with drinking and driving unless you hit somebody.
If I smoke a joint and I'm hiding under the staircase, or if I'm walking down the street and I'm not hurting anybody, man.
You hurt somebody, dude, man. I'm gonna walk in your face and tell you how much your weed is hurting me. I'm gonna get in your face, man. This weed is killing me right now.
That's hilarious, dude. I'll never forget that story. Lady literally pushed her stroller up to me. I wasn't even smoking weed. I was smoking a cigarette, but it doesn't matter. Pushed her stroller up to me, and said, "You're smoking in front of my kid." I said, "Why the fuck did you just walk up to me?
We
Back
were
away,
20 feet away from them easily at Disneyland.
When they started walking up, at least 20 feet. We had 100 yards in every direction. You know what I mean?
I put my cigarette out because I was just like, this lady's crazy, but whatever.
I'm blowing my smoke away from her, up in the air, obviously, not near her child because I'm not an asshole. Not in her face even though maybe she deserves that. Up in the air, and she literally wants to fight me, telling her to sit.
And then she tried to make her boyfriend fight you, and he was scared. He was like, "No, I don't want to do this."
Let's go, dummy. What's happening here? I'm smoking a cigarette. Fuck off.
Oh, man. That's the world they want, though. Division, fights, division.
Look, let's be honest, dude. I'm not the smallest guy, though, and it's not like I've never fought. Like, I guarantee if that was like a skinny little 5 foot tall guy or something, they probably would have thrown hands on him, beat the shit out of him.
They do it all the time. People do it all the time.
I'll fuck you up, son, and your whole family. Come at me with just crazy shit. I learned to fight in numbers. I grew up in poor neighborhoods where I was a minority getting jumped because of my skin color. Fuck you, motherfucker. This ain't new to me. I'll show you what the fuck's up. Same if I ever see these assholes hitting old people. You know what I mean?
Children, old people, women. Stop
children just
letting
beating
them
the
do
shit
it.
out of them. Not like smacking your child. Okay, spank your child, smack your child. I ain't getting family shit. If you're beating the hell out of somebody, I'm sorry, don't do that shit in front of me. You're going to catch something from me, and I'll take a charge because that's some bullshit. I don't give a fuck. That's just out of line. I don't put up with it.
Well, if people fight back when they're getting attacked by multiple people, all it takes is a couple hits to the right person. They're all going to back off anyway. I've seen that recently with that Subway fight, but I don't watch a lot of fights, but it comes up on my Twitter feed. But no, I'm saying a lot of times. If you fight back instead of being a little bitch, I can't think of a better word for it.
Heavily outnumbered a few times, and luckily I had at least one buddy with me fighting, but dude, we took down a good 10, 15 of them before they stopped coming, dude.
But you have to do it. You can't just let people hurt people that are innocent in general. You have to defend yourself. You have to defend other innocents. I mean, it's right there. It's right there. It's not debatable in the scripture. That's why I really want to talk to Jehovah's Witness sometime. Like, why do you not think you should be able to fight somebody back or use a gun or whatever if you're getting attacked? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I never understood it.
There you go. Speaking of this, did you see this, man, with the first attack actually in Iowa, man? It literally fucked almost all the Amish people. Because most of where the Amish people live is that area, dude. You know, southern Indiana, Illinois, all that shit. That's where most of the Amish live, dude. And they were off the grid for all this thing. They had no problems with COVID or none of this shit. All of a sudden, there's some train wreck that's literally screwing up and killing everything.
Is it? I mean, so it's in their area and for the Amish.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's something like 80% of the Amish people in the country are affected by this shit, dude. Yeah. And they weren't affected by any of this other bullshit, but you take it directly to their water source and their animals and shit like that. I mean...
No, I mean, obviously, that's
fucked, man.
I mean, the Amish try to mind their own business. They don't mess with our stuff, and they don't have to pay taxes. Right. And I'm envious of some of the stuff they be able to do. I mean, not envious is maybe the wrong word, but obviously, I mean, it's. I mean, like, yeah, it'd be nice if we'd have to pay taxes and we could live off the land. That'd be great. Maybe Christians should get back to that somehow. But yeah, I mean,
they always go after those people, obviously, though, anywhere you are, not just the Amish.
But they're destroying the land. Now they can't even do that. I mean,
for a long time. That's what I was saying.
I've always been against this pollution, environmental destruction, but I'm not a climate change person, man. I don't know what the hell that means. CO2s don't matter, dude. I can breathe out all I want. We're good, man. You want to reduce the carbon the carbon footprint is my life, bitch. Sorry, you ain't taking it.
Yeah, live in respect with nature, obviously, is a reasonable thing for anybody to do.
Don't destroy what God gave us. He gave us the garden. Stop destroying it.
We're over dominion of everything. Like, he gave us that, right? Of plants and animals. This is our dominion.
To take care of it.
Yeah, you know, and obviously greedy assholes are going to fucking destroy things. But we're supposed to stand up to them and have them stop destroying shit. That's where the balance start getting fucked up. Then you got fucking these corporations and evil assholes that are bigger than governments, including our own, which is really scary, but true, you know? And they do what the fuck they want, and they can't even be prosecuted because they're a corporation and a person at the same time. How do you pin someone down like that? Good fucking luck. They pay a fine and keep killing people, right? Let's be honest. That's the truth of the matter.
Well, yeah, Coca-Cola killed a lot of people for unionizing and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Henry Ford and maybe Firestone Tires and a lot of places, man. Tropicana, or was it what's that banana company, man? With the lady on it, Chiquita Bananas. Yeah, a lot of companies they've been prosecuted
Usually
for this
in,
shit.
South
Shell
America,
Oil.
Africa,
Yeah.
they do it in places we don't hear about. But if you do the research, you'll see that these corporations have gotten away with actual murder and they don't do anything about it. Like get a
All the
fine
time, dude.
maybe or something. And
Yeah, slap on the
corporations
wrist and a
shouldn't
fine.
exist, in my mind. Like there has to
I
be an
think it's evil
individual
too, man.
responsible. There has to be someone
Honestly,
responsible.
I
I
don't really
don't
know how
feel
to
like
explain it.
corporations should exist. And I know that would like go against a
It's
lot
all
of
good.
people's like opinions on capitalism, but I think capitalism doesn't exist with corporations in it because it's not true capitalism. You're not going to market with even footing. If there's a corporation that can get away with all this and you can't, you will be destroyed in the free market. It's not a free market anymore. And I'm not saying capitalism is like something we should hold up like the Bible, but at the same time, it's the best economic system we've figured out so far. Maybe we'll find a better one. We may have to end it here. We had something happen in real life, which superseded the recording. So if we do, we'll catch you next week at the Unfiltered Godcast. You can find me on any social, basically. Let me know. Twitter is where I'm mainly at SilverFox, SILVERFOX. And you can find HashnNugs at any social. I think he's mainly on Twitter right now, too, at HashnNugs, HashnNugs. Take care. The Unfiltered Godcast. You can find us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. Also on YouTube and video platforms. That's Unfiltered Godcast. Unfiltered Godcast.
Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the show at all. Thank you.
Appreciate it.